Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to DeFi, Degens, Drip, and Farm for Poverty, where on this channel, our vision is to empower the impoverished by helping you find financial freedom through crypto assets. If you like the mission, you resonate with the vision, as always, smash the subscribe button, turn on notifications, leave me a comment, help boost the algorithm so at a minimum, we can make a job as a YouTuber if our life in crypto just doesn't pan out. All right, in today's video, we are going to be looking at this really cool article by Patrick Cryptoza. He does a lot of articles, been in the game for quite some time, and the focus of this one is Drip's volatility is a feature, not a bug. And it basically is talking about the dark days of Drip. So he said he got in, he first bought Drip at $5.84. So he's been in for quite some time. Um, and then he goes into some details about building his journey and then how he actually bought more Drip about a week later when it doubled in price. And then he gives a comparison of imagining that you were at $40 and then a week later went to 80 and you decide to put in 9 times more capital. So you put $1,000 in, then a week later it doubles in price and you put in another $9,000. That's what he did, but it just happened to be a lot cheaper, right? So this is just someone that believed in Drip and has been in for a while. So he gives a good overview of what it's done. And he talks about how he built his team and yada, yada, yada. But the main part I want to highlight is in here. Drip has done a 90% correction twice before, from 20 to 2 and 63 to 7. I couldn't find these exact ones, but that's what this video is about. So before I go further, just a disclaimer. This is pure speculation. This is a hypothetical what if scenario, just to give you a little bit of hopium, right? There is no guarantee this will happen, but it'd be really cool if it did. There is a 1 in a billion shot that this could play out because we're using the numbers in the charts. But basically, I took this, what this guy mentioned here. Also saw this video by, who's this channel? Easy Step Investing, where he actually goes into the trading indicators, the 200-day moving average, the 20 moving average. Remember, Drip is not a traded crypto, so it does not follow the typical trading indicators, but they are cool to give you speculation and things of that nature. And what he did highlight, which does have some weight, is that Drip is almost 1 year old. So we can use the history to try to predict the future. Now, granted, it's only 1 year, and that's not enough to predict it, but in the other videos I mentioned about some of the upcoming announcements, we saw how announcements affect Drip, so we're going to do that in today's video. So he does some retracements, and I did the same thing already, and I did on both the Drip BNB Pancake Swap version 1 pair, because that is the oldest, so that goes out to almost when Drip launched, and I did a couple of dips and run-ups to see the number of days and the percentage and yada, yada, yada. So I did that for all of them. And then I did the same thing on the Drip BUSD pair, just showing you guys. I'm going to show you on the chart somewhere else because it's a hell of a lot easier to read. And I started on this one. I had the other one, but I deleted it already because it starts in July. But I did the same thing, tracked the peaks and the valleys, how many days, what the increase in percentage was, what the decrease was, yada, yada, yada. So here's all of that in an easier to read format. So I put it in a spreadsheet so that you didn't have to watch me run those numbers again. So this is the Drip BNB Pancake Swap version 1 pair. This is the one that goes out the furthest. So it actually started at 22 April, but I started mine at 30. And then this one is the Drip, just said BUSD on this one, BUSD version 2. So, but long story short, the BNB one, the oldest version, shows the deepest drops and highest runs in price range, and the BUSD version shows shallower. So what I did is I took the average from both. Right, so the average number of days that it had a pump cycle, that's the stuff in green. So I just took all of those columns that are in green, gave the average here, and got the average pump, and took that percentage average. So that comes out to 805%. Then the average dump was 33 days and 67.96% retracement. But first, I looked at the average of the two highest retracements that we had. So remember that one article I just showed you, this guy mentioned that there was two 90% corrections. Depending on what chart you're using, what tools you use, what part of the wick you measure, you can come up with these numbers. So I got a 92 negative retracement and a 84 negative decrease. So I took the average of those. That comes up to 88%. That's really close to 90. So what I did was take the 90% or 88% from the high on that chart, which was 166.69, and that would give us a bottom of 19.62 days. And then I took the average number of days for these was 75. So basically saying that we would have a 75-day downtrend from 27 July, puts us out at 12 April, and that gives us a bottom of $19.62 on that chart. On the second chart, something very, very similar. So I took the same 74 days instead of 75, 74 days, and from the 167.50 instead of 166.69, because again, two different charts. And that chart showed us 17 January, and that gave us 1 April. So theoretically, somewhere between 1 April and 12 April, we should have the bottom of drip. That would be nice. And that bottom should be between 21 and 1962. Now, remember, these are 100% speculative, hypothetical, just pure bullshit plays. But it's still kind of cool. So if that happens, and then we have the positive corrections that we had before. So again, that's where these numbers come in. So I took the average of all the pumps that we had. That's 805% spike. So 805% from the low of 1962 gives us $177, or from this 1 April, from 2169 to 174. So very similar. Then I just did it again. So I took the average again, but this time I took the average of all the negatives instead of the absolute high. I took the average of the negatives, comes up to 67% instead of using 88. So saying it will retrace down about 70% takes us back from the all-time high that we'd have in the end of April of 175-ish. We would retrace back down to the 55s. Then we'd have another run up to 450. We trace from 450 to 145. And then from 145, we would finally break into the 1000s by the September mark. So that's where the clickbait on the title comes from. Not clickbait, it's just using numbers and speculating. Obviously, there's a very, very slim chance that it will follow this exact trend. There's no way in hell. Even if the numbers are within 20%, I'd be surprised, right? But it's just cool to see that there have been these retracements, and the heat dies off basically, and that it did pump back up again. So there is still hope, even if drip continues to go further down. Right now, it's kind of actually consolidated a wee bit. So it looks like it kind of stopped aggressively falling from 35 to now 35 and some change. Had a little peak there, and then it's staved off here. But who knows by the time you see this video where it'll be at. But the point being that it could drop another 15 bucks from here, and that would still, even though it sucked, that would still be well within the cards of what drip has done. So there's still no reason to panic. If we drop below, I'd say like 17 and a half, then we're into unknown territory, uncharted territory. Still, the contracts hold up, and still there is hope. Even if it goes back down to $5 or something like that, highly unlikely. I believe at the low 20s to high teens is where you find a lot of new capital being pushed back in, because at that stage, no one since the early days of drip will have seen basement bargain prices at that range. So you're talking since originally August timeframe that people saw that. Then it dropped below, and then it hit that all-time high in the 20s back in October. So none of the new players will have seen drip at that low phase. Remember, a lot of people got in towards the end of the year, starting around here. So they were getting in at the 30s. So this is right now, getting to the low 30s is where a lot of the new players got in at, and they could be the ones that start to add more fresh capital. So, and if it goes below that, then they're like, hey, I can dollar cost average in because I got in at 30. Cool. and they were already taking profits up here, so they should have money sitting on the sidelines. But just cool to see that what could potentially play out. So a $1,000 drip price by the fourth quarter, starting the fourth quarter, no later than, and then a bargain basement discount price of between $21 to $19.62. So that's just me showing you guys some chart analytics that, like I said, don't really hold any water. You can also read this article. Hopefully I remember to put it in the links. I have a bad habit of that, but cryptoza.com, you can read his stuff. And there's another little nugget to say that on average, it takes about 100 to 120 days of claims. Remember, because you get 1% minus the taxes and fees. So you have 10% claim, 10% sell. So that's 20%. So there is a theory that there's going to be 120 days of negative price action for anybody trying to get their investment back. Now, granted, you're claiming as it's going down, so it'll be even longer than that. But if you were to chart this out from 120 days from the all-time high, which was 27 Jan, you got Feb, March, April, May. So it could be all the way until beginning of June when people stop claiming aggressively or claiming every single day. There could be people doing that, not saying that that's what's happening, but just something to keep in mind that that number 120 could be another number within the ecosystem that has some value for people trying to get out their initial capital and then letting house money play, so to speak. But for all those people that do that, there's also other people like myself that just hydrate. So it should balance out. So we'll see. It's going to be very interesting what happens in the next 2 weeks. That's really what matters. As of right now, the animal farm still paused. And then you have all this bullish stuff coming up from Forex. So the announcements, the AMAs, the partnerships. So all of that is leading right up to allow for a breakout in this range. So it's kind of interesting that this plays out here 1 April, 12 April, that we're talking less than 3 weeks from today. And the animal farm should definitely be launched within that time. The drip lottery should be within that time. So that would be a good bullish signal to reverse this and be right on par with the negative price action we've been seeing. So it's really the point of this video, I guess, is there's no reason to panic yet. So not yet, at least. Right now, we are still well within the window and we're playing exactly as it played out previously. So if history repeats itself, and that's what they say it does for most cases, then just hold on, hodl for dear life, and continue hydrating, because we're in for one hell of a ride come the middle of April and see what happens. All right, guys, that is it for this video. Until the next one, live daily and achieve your impossible. Hope this brought some value. If you did, leave some likes, thumbs ups, all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.